This video has been quite a few weeks in the making, and it's not just because I once again have gotten sick like I usually do around this time of the year. If you've been following along and have been taking a look at some of the videos from my past, you'll know that at some point in September, October, November, at one point or another, I will be getting sick with something, usually relating to bronchitis of some manner, and then that turns into whatever. In this case, it turned into almost asthmatic bronchitis. It was viral, so but I've been waiting for, not only for that to subside, which it has, but I also was waiting for parts to arrive, which were necessary to make this video happen. This is a Digital Equipment Corporation VT510 terminal. It is a single-user terminal, I guess. Mono color, not graphical, just text mode. And this was sold alongside the VT520, which was a multi-session graphical terminal from what I understand. The VT525 replaced both of those and is a set-top box that goes underneath your monitor of choice and plugged into your standard peripherals like garbage. This was one of the last CRT monitor-based terminals. And what sets this one apart from others is this one has quite a few different modes for terminal emulation. Now, I'm not going to go into most of the details of this monitor, and just monitor, terminal, whatever you want to call it. I'm going to call it a terminal from here on in. But suffice it to say, this is not really the main thing I'm trying to make a video about here, but this is related. No, today's video is about this guy, the Raspberry Pi Zero, and also a Max 3232 serial RS-232 to TTL adapter thing. I don't know, this was like $2 on eBay. It was a 2-pack. But yeah, this guy right here. I picked up 3 of these over the course of a couple weeks, back in September when they were $1 over at Micro Center. Me and a friend went over there, and it was just kind of a, I don't know. I wanted to go there and actually purchase one, and I did. And once I got out to the checkout and I saw that they were $1, I'm like, oh my god, I've got to come back for these. So the following week, I convinced a friend to go with me, he picked up something from there, a cable of some manner, and he also got himself a Pi Zero and gave it to me, and I gave him $1, and we were all set, and whatever. This one is my third unused one. I have one which I've done a mod to the backside. You can see here you've got these 4 pads here, 1, 2, 3, 4, and what these pads are, you got PP1 and PP6. Those are the test pads for 5 volts and ground, and then these 2 over here, which are labeled PP22 and PP23, they're right underneath the micro USB port, and those are your data pins of whatever for USB, and those go directly to the USB chip. So, I mean, it's a computer for $1. This was $1. Sadly, now they are no longer $1. They are now back to $5, but that's still impressive for what you get for $5. So I've been looking to do a little project with this, and so I was just messing around with the other one, setting it up wirelessly. I put it out in the garage for a week, and it turned out okay. And then the VT510 happened. And then I'm like, I should totally hook up a Pi Zero to this. yeah. I looked up online, and there were a couple that were like BeagleBone Black inside a VT100, and Raspberry Pi on something or other, but it wasn't really a terminal too much. It was like one of those French data terminals or something. And yeah, that's okay and stuff, but what about a Pi Zero? What about that hooked up to a serial terminal? It hasn't been done. So far as I know, it has not been done. I've not been able to find at least video proof that it's been done on YouTube. I mean, there's a couple of posts and stuff you can find in these places, but nothing like this. Inside or on the side of, or just hooked up to a terminal of any kind. So I figured, well, what the hey, I may be the first, I may be the second to put one out there. I don't know. We'll see what the deal is. So, without further ado, let's show you the finished product. Okay, so this is the finished product, and as you can see, it's not very elegant. This is just supposed to be like, hook it up on the side of the computer or behind it or whatever, and you're done. This took, I don't know, a couple weeks for me to figure out how I wanted to do it and how I wanted to set things inside and all that stuff. A couple weeks, and it was more waiting on the project box out of China than it was anything else. This 9-pin to 25-pin adapter here on the side is a little crooked, yes I know, but this is going to get replaced with a 9-pin gender changer, which also doubles as a pass-through null modem. So pop that through and I'll be able to hook up a straight cable and Bob's your uncle, pretty much. So, I'll show you what it looks like inside. First off, we've got this very nice inland USB OTG, so just micro USB to a normal standard USB port. And I just kind of have that hooked through. There is a whole bunch of white hot snot here, which is actually a silicone base, hot glue gun sort of hot snot stuff. And this is just from some god-awful box of stuff that I found in the basement one day, and I'm like, ooh, I can use this with a lighter and just smush it on stuff and watch things get, like, bonded together, and protection and what have you. It worked out. It looks like junk. And I think I also showed this stuff in the Sun Ultra 10 video that I made back when I did the NVRAM in that. Yeah, I think so. I think that's possible that I did that. So, getting to the inside here, and you're gonna notice that it's very, very dirty. Like, it was done very messy. So, here we've got the brains of the matter. You got the Raspberry Pi Zero with a heatsink on the main SoC. That's just to be on the safe side. I'm not planning on overclocking this or anything. It's sitting at 1000 megahertz at full load. But then the CPU frequency stuff in the kernel does drop it down to 700 at idle. This is how it is for pretty much all Pis now, since the introduction of kernel 4 or so. There's a small heatsink here for the microSD card, and that's just because it's a 2 gig microSD card, class 4, I'm going to hope, and I don't know, I don't want any problems with it. The slower cards do tend to get a little hotter when you're trying to ask a lot of them, which in this particular scenario I'm not going to be, but I still want to be on the safe side. There's a switch for turning it on and off, which I will not be flipping because this is plugged into power at the moment. And that's connected through with the power coming off the USB cable here, which goes to a 5-volt wart inside the cabinet behind this VT510. It goes straight in, goes through the switch, and you got ground over here, which I used that one instead of the one over on this side, because this one I'm using for the serial connection. And then there's also a 5-volt cable, which you really can't see because it's in the back there. It's none of these that are sticking up. It's actually tucked in down inside the 5-volt pin at the front over here. It's actually tucked under the board and it goes around here. It's actually this particular cable right here, which does not have a any sort of a socket on it to plug a pin header into. So yeah. Oh, yeah. Something's messing with my nose in here. I'm getting a little bit of an allergy sort of thing happening. I got like a half stuffy nose now. Wonderful. Now you get to hear my nasally voice. Yeah. So got that. Got the Max 3232. Got a whole bunch more hot snot than I really need. But again, it's just to be on the safe side, because once this is together, I'm probably not going to take it apart for a long time until probably the SD card dies or something catastrophically fails, what have you. And I did it so fast that I just took the entire long cables that came with the 3232 and I just popped it in there and all that stuff, and I really didn't think to shorten the cables up. I know this may seem silly now. I did add a little bit of shielding to that particular side, thinking that just long cables, there's going to be some interference. Maybe that'll help a little bit. It might help. It may also have just been something that I really didn't need to do. At this point in time, I'm really not complaining. I did what I needed to do, and I felt that this might have been right, and it doesn't seem to be doing any harm to it. So once it's together, it's together. Nobody's going to notice or care or what have you anyway, except for those of you that are watching this video. I think that's about it. There's nothing really else much to see here. I did drill a hole in the side. Which side was it? I think it was this side. It was this side, so that you can see the hole right there. That way I can see the power LED, which is on a 90-degree angle, the power and activity, and that's just so I can see it through the hole for just diagnosing things if I don't want to open the box or what have you. And other than that, everything is also pretty much set. The shielding from this cable is also soldered directly on top of the other micro USB port on the actual Pi, and I did that just to connect the shielding where it needed to go, or not the shielding, but the ground, I guess. The cable ground. The actual, you know, this piece of the cable, the metal point. That way everything's connected how it needs to be, because of whatever. It really doesn't seem to need to be a thing, but And the way this is getting on the internet is I have a Rawlink based Belkin piece of junk 80211G plus MIMO whatever piece of junk wireless dongle that seems to be working. And those 4 holes are when I was trying to, in the initial stages of this, mount it on top of this. And I actually did succeed, and I used it on top of the dongle for a while until the box actually came in and I was able to do all this. And this was done over the course of an entire day, pretty much. So I've added an extension cord, a short extension cord onto that, just for convenience sake, for when I plug it into the OTG adapter here. And I'm going to be on my merry way here in a second. So, oh, what the hell was that? A little tiny gnat or something. So, without further ado, let's get everything hooked up, and we'll see how she purrs. Okay, although it's kind of hard to see, I have it plugged into the back of the serial port in the back here. The second of 2, which are for serial A. Serial B on this particular terminal is actually an MMJ port, modified modular jack. And that's a 6-pin DEC variant of, I guess, different level serial and stuff. I don't know. Not something I completely read up a whole bunch about. Most I really needed out of this was RS-232, and I can work with it from there because Max 3232 is something that I've worked with before. I had to use it to debug my Pogo plug. I had to use it to get a serial console on my D-Link. I think it's a DSM G500? G200? I can't remember the name of that freaking thing. That's down in the basement someplace. I actually have to get that resurrected and start working on it somehow. Supposedly you can run MicroSD on that. I am thinking about it. I'm heavily thinking about it. Because I wanted to do something. It's a PowerPC machine. So, let's get this show on the road. Let me see if I can bring this out into the light actually so you can see it a little better. Excuse the noise. Yeah. So, there's the box. It's just plugged directly into the back of this for the moment. I have that gender changer on order still. That's coming in from the bowels of China. And that's going to allow me to actually take this box and plug it in over here where I actually have some Velcro already set out. And it's going to be actually in a flip of what it is now. And I'm going to have a DB9 to DB25 cable, which is not null, which will go between the box and the terminal. Hopefully, I'm able to find one that is of reasonable size, else I'm going to have to probably make my own. Now, that being said, let's flip this back around. Sorry, excuse the noise. Move this to a usable point. Okay. And let's start her up. You can see the Belkin is now over here. You're all nice and happy. Okay. Now I'm going to go through the keyboard self-test here. This over slightly. Okay. I'm going to get a test on here saying, okay, this banner here is something that I added. That's just for me, so I know when the machine was actually, the actual terminal was made. The VT510 actually dates back to 93, but this one was made in 1998, according to some nomenclature inside in terms of chip dates and stuff. So, let's get going. Flip the magical switch. And we start booting up in 19.2K baud. That's something that I actually had to go into the cmdline.txt and change the boot speed of, and then also on in the etc init tab file. So now we're going to get some IPv6 and all sorts of different link is not ready messages, and finally link becomes ready. So we are now hooked up to the internet through the wireless dongle, which is sitting over there. So let me go into okay, we're in. So first off, because this is just a gotta do it. Right. So let me find my thing here. A whole bunch of things I gotta sort through here. Whoa, was that it? No. Let me looking for something. What was I looking for? There it is. Gotta tell the terminal how big the actual console window is. Okay, now I can clear and do a screen, and as you can see now it's using the entire screen and not just whatever. It was using this much before for when it was booting, but once you get past and go into login prompt and all that stuff, and once you clear the screen once, then you only get 80 by 25 down here in the bottom top left, and that's kind of annoying. So we're going to press return, and we're going to start up IRC. This is using the VT510 plus Xterm theme, which is now giving us some stuff. And we're going to take a look down here for just a moment while that's doing its thing. We'll take a look at the Dell keyboard that's popping through here. Yellow. But that's the way I got it. It's all nice and yellowed, and it's mine, and from what I remember, this one has Alps Black switches. I've got another one which is like Salmon Alps or something, and that's like an older style AT101. It's got the old Dell logo with the blue stripes on top bottom. Very interesting. So now we got all this. Now, because I don't have this set for VT510 PC, which I did it for a very specific reason, I can't use Alt as escape. So I have to actually use escape like you would on a Mac to go between IRC windows if you were to use it inside a command line or what have you. So escape 3 in this case would bring up Nixserve, which would then tell you all you need to know about that. And you can just window close, and we're back to this one. Hey, look, Z50's here. Hey, look at that. Boy. So there we are. That's the Doogie Labs channel on Freenode, which you should totally join if you want to talk to some really cool people. There's quite a couple of different YouTube people in here that have their own channels, not including Doogie Labs. Also, once known as G60 Scuzz. Aussie50, who is well, he has op status, but well, I'm up here making the VT510 video finally. Smile for YouTube. Oh. Yep, smile for YouTube. That was me doing this with one hand. I can't type with one hand to save my life. It's working out. So, you got a stream link, which brings you to the Ustream, and you got a Hangout link here, which will actually bring you to the public Hangout, which usually around 9 p.m. Eastern on a Monday through, well, 24/7, where it's there, but 9 p.m. Eastern most days is when everybody starts getting their jimmies all rustled, and we all start showing up inside the Hangout and hang out for a few hours and go back and doing our own thing or going to bed or what have you. That is goo.gl/KR capital H lowercase a 7 lowercase d, as you can sort of see there. So, you got Aussie50, Doogie Labs, who else in here? CProsu, who, if you know anything about what happened with him during, what was that? That was DEF CON. But we won't talk about that. Got Electric Guy, who has a YouTube channel. Got Sig, who also has a YouTube channel and mostly dabbles in different types of lighting. Who else we got in here? Lemming, who has been on a couple of Ed's videos already. Knifewolf X03, person I went to go and visit out in Ohio. Who else we got in here? There's a couple more of mine. I got the Pi Zero in here and U10. Why the Spark Station 5 isn't in here? That's a good question. Treehouse Man and a couple others. M. Bainrot, he's cool. But that's about it. That's about it for YouTube celebrities in here, I guess. That's just the way it goes. But yeah, look at that. IRC works. Yeah. Let's see if this works. Gee, it's not picking up any of that. Whoops. Do I not have Figlet on here? I don't. So. Wow. Oh. Gotta reload it because it failed. Now, yo. Wow. Until then, I'll see. Now that really worked out. Yeah, hopefully I've inspired a few of you to go and do this with your own serial terminals. So, until then, I'll see you next time. Or you'll see me next time. Or not.